Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Goodwill Meditation Group webinar. Today is May 29th, 2024. We're so glad to have all of you joining us here today for this work. So this webinar, as many of us know, is focused first and foremost on the group meditation on Goodwill. We join together and we seek to approach this meditation upon the plane of mind and on the plane of soul. And from there, with intelligence and vision, we seek to evoke the heart. And this approach is based on the fact that we, along with all of humanity, are in essence souls, and as such are one with the oversoul, or the soul of all things. And so this innate unity, as well as this subtle power of the soul to transform the material world by virtue of working with the consciousness that underlies it, is really the basis of all of our work together. And in fact, it actually is the basis which underlies all esoteric or occult work, which seeks to work in the spiritual world of ideas or of cause. And so with that in mind, we thought it would be very appropriate if today's webinar took a special focus on the units of service work, something which World Goodwill and the Trust have sought to support now for over almost a century. And so behind the Units of Service initiative is the idea that our work, this work in consciousness, in focused meditation and in spiritual invocation, when it is anchored in many small groups around the world, it greatly increases the larger groups' capacity to facilitate the inflow of spiritual energies into humanity and into our planet. These spiritual energies are the energies of the plan, of light, of love, and of goodwill. And so after our meditation today, we will hear from two units of service, Ana Castillo from Psicoactiva, which is based in Mexico, and Margot Rush from the Society for the Enhancement of the Quality of Life, which is based in Canada. They will both discuss various aspects of their work, and we hope that this will give all of us a clear sense of the vital livingness of these groups and the opportunity which they present to all of us. And so as we begin now, I'd like us to start with a mantram, as we normally do. But I thought today we could perhaps switch things up a bit and use a mantram which I don't think has been used on this webinar before, but given our theme, I think is very appropriate. So this mantram is called the Affirmation of the Disciple, and it is a really beautiful and it's a very potent mantram. It affirms the role that the individual, the consecration of the individual consciousness can play in the scheme of the larger group. And so I'm going to put this up on our screen, and so we'll sound it together, followed by a single sounding of the sacred word, the Om. I am a point of light within a greater light. I am a strand of loving energy within the stream of love divine. I am a point of sacrificial fire focused within the fiery will of God. And thus I stand. I am a way by which men may achieve. I am a source of strength, enabling them to stand. I am a beam of light, shining upon their way, and thus I stand. And standing thus revolve, and tread this way, the ways of men, and know the ways of God, and thus I stand. Oh. So this phrase, a point of light within a greater light, has a definite bearing on our theme today, and we could say that the units of service are, in many ways, points of light within the greater light of the new group of world servers. And so the new group of world servers is a worldwide group of thinkers, and they can perhaps best be identified by their expressed consciousness of unity. This group has no outer organization or headquarters, and its members can be found across every nation, every religion, and every race, and they work through and within practically every major ideology across the globe. They work to heal breaches, to foster goodwill and mutual interrelation, and they bridge across all divides. They are intelligent people of goodwill, and they express what the Tibetan refers to as love as thinking. They are consciously or unconsciously aligned with that intelligent love and sacrificial will of the soul, that inner spiritual being, which is in all of us. And this will, this love, not only inspires their work, but to varying degrees, actually directs it as well. And so forming the heart center of this group are those who are definitely able to work consciously as souls, and as such are able to more directly mediate between the spiritual energies and ideas of the higher worlds of cause and what we could say, the mundane world of expressed human living. The conscious nature of this task, of their work, of course, brings its own glamours and difficulties. And often it can seem that those who have no conscious or formal understanding of the ageless wisdom are in fact able to have more consequential effects in the outer world. I think this is something which does trouble a lot of people that have dedicated themselves or seek to dedicate themselves to various paths of spiritual meditation and of service through meditation. And while it may be true in one sense that the more outer workers appear to have more consequential effects, it's important to remember that the esoteric sciences, at least as far as humanity's apprehension of them is concerned, are very much in their infancy. But still, the ability to work within the realm of cause, which is a very high objective indeed, very difficult thing to do. It's more of really an aspiration in many ways for most of us, is of such vital necessity. And it's something which has to be cultivated over time and over generations. And so without it, without this ability to begin to work as the soul, to work with consciousness, and to allow that consciousness to permeate out into and through the outer form of humanity as a whole, without that, many of humanity's current problems cannot be solved. And especially those problems which are now just emerging on the horizon, those too will prove insolvable. The types of transformation which the world needs at this time really, I think, can only be effected from within and not from without. Exoteric science and religion have in many ways reached their high water mark, and we are told they can go no further unless they adopt at least some of the fundamentals of the ageless wisdom, especially with regard to the reality of the inner worlds and the fact of the immortal human soul. But once widely accepted, these spiritual truths will all but strike the death knell to the materialism of the Piscean age and will lead to a total paradigm shift, perhaps greater than humanity has ever experienced in its recorded history. And there are many signs today that this transition is already underway, and such progress has been made possible by the sustained work of the group of world mystics, including the new group of world servers down the ages. A sound adherence to the fundamentals of the sciences of meditation and of invocation and of service when followed through with integrity and with sound common sense, are definitely needed now more than ever. The opening of the doors to the inner world and humanity's orientation to the spiritual path will continue to bring great challenge and much confusion. The thinning of the veils and the inpouring of certain great cosmic energies is rapidly leading humanity into a great maelstrom or concatenation of forces, which are puzzling and perhaps even impossible to really understand when they are viewed exoterically. But when rightly interpreted, they hold the key to humanity's salvation. And so those working at the heart center of the new group of world servers therefore have a very important role to play, not only in humanity's understanding of the nature of these subtle energies, but more practically in being able to bridge between the unmanifested spiritual ideas and contemporary human thinking. And so that bridging work is where the healing really takes place. And this requires us to work truly and fully as the soul, which, as many of us know, is by no means a small or easy thing, especially when the group, the necessity of the group working as a soul is brought in. It brings significant psychological challenge, and it asks quite a great deal of us, but we are told the rewards are adequate. And so units of service exist to support this work at the heart center of the new group of world servers, each in their own way. All are also, at least generally, aligned with the specific principles and objectives of world goodwill and the trust, and the ageless wisdom teachings of Alice Bailey and the Tibetan, though, of course, many of the units of service are inspired by a lot of other and different traditions as well, and there is a great deal of flexibility when it comes to the particulars of these different doctrines and disciplines. And so in a more practical sense, we could say that units of service they're often small groups, which are independently organized, and they do today exist all throughout the world. There's a directory of them on the Lucis Trust website, but that's by no means an exhaustive list. There are many who prefer not to be affiliated. They can be as small as 3 people, but many, especially, for instance, the 2 that we are going to hear from today, are significantly larger. The creation of a unit of service occurs when one or a few servers act upon a recognized need to organize their service efforts and to join with others to do so. And so they emerge when there's a real inspiration to act as a group. Each unit of service is a living organism, more so than it is an organization, we could say. And they are dynamic focal points of spiritual energy in their essence. Units of service, though, engage in a variety of subjective and objective work, some focusing more subjectively and some integrating more objective work as well. But the unifying factor is really that all these groups serve right where they are, supporting the idea that it is coherent and integrated group thought and consecration, spiritual consecration, which is the major factor in affecting changes in human consciousness. And so today, as we do our meditation, perhaps we could use it as an opportunity, if we don't do so already, to link up with consciously with this unit of service network, which surrounds the globe. And then afterwards, we can hear directly from 2 representatives from these 2 units of service, and perhaps that will help everyone to get a more living and more vital idea about the good work that they're doing. And so without further ado, let me prepare this PowerPoint and bring it up, and we can go into our meditation on goodwill. And so we begin by linking up in thought with all those people throughout the world who are working with this Goodwill meditation group. We can also take this opportunity to link up with the worldwide network of units of service, small and large, throughout the world. We reflect upon the fact of relationship. You are related to your family, to your community, to your nation. The world of nations. Into the one humanity made up of all races and nations. And we sound together the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Reflect upon your own and humanity's relationship with all those beings who dwell in the higher realms of mind and heart. The spiritual hierarchy of saints, of rishis, bodhisattvas, and masters, which are honored by all the world's religions and spiritual groups. And now imagine you're standing together within the center of the spiritual hierarchy, immersed in the consciousness of the heart of love. For some, this heart of love is known as the Christ. Other faiths have other names for the one at the center. Maintaining that high point of contact, let your thoughts reach out to include all members of the human family in whom the energy of goodwill is active. We sound together the affirmation of love. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Visualize the love flowing from the hierarchy, through the men and women of goodwill, and into the hearts and minds of all people, infusing them with goodwill and creating loving and harmonious human relationships. Meditate on ways of spreading goodwill, of creating right human relationships, and restoring peace on earth. Realize that you are helping to build a channel between the spiritual hierarchy and humanity through which the energy of goodwill may flow, uniting humanity, solving its problems, and healing all cleavages. Linked in thought with the men and women of goodwill all over the world, sound the great invocation. Say it with deliberation and with full commitment to its meaning, knowing that you are radiating its potent energies to humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, Let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh. 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 Great. Thank you, everyone. Um, I'd like to now invite our two guests, Anna Castillo, representative from Psicoactiva, and Margot Rush, a representative from Society for the Enhancement of the Quality of Life. If you could come on and turn your videos on and your mics on. How are you doing?
Hi, hello. Hello, everyone.
Greetings, everyone. Very
Hi.
well, thank you, Michael.
Great. So thank you both so much for being here today. I know both of you represent longstanding units of service in the Americas, in Mexico and in Canada. So yeah, thanks for being here. I'd like to just maybe to get us started, I'd like if you both could just describe a little bit about the work of your respective groups, maybe a little bit about how it's organized and the programs you run, or sort of maybe more the impetus or thought forms purposes behind it as well, if you'd like. Margot, would you like to go first?
Certainly.
Okay,
Thanks, Michael.
thank you.
A small group of us came together in around 1989, and we were practicing quiet. And then in 1998, we decided to organize our service a little more, and we became a nonprofit charitable society registered in Canada, registered in Victoria, BC, and the west coast of Canada. And we started offering courses based on the teachings of the Tibetan. And we also are, the purpose was to provide these educational programs to increase the awareness and the expression of soul, the qualities of soul and group soul, and the strength of group soul to reveal the one life, and to help people live more effectively in their everyday lives, to bring a finer quality of life to the New World community. Our field was built and continues to build and be sustained by our group service meditation, in which we link up with our triangles and groups of similar intent or units of service around the world. And in realizing our subjective strength to align with and radiate the Christ impulse in alignment with Shambhala, and embracing humanity with love and compassion as we live that. So the courses have evolved over the years, and the organization is becoming, I would say, working more from cooperative leadership. We've done a little experimenting with self-organization, and our outreach, see, it seems to be magnetic and word of mouth more than anything.
Thank you, Margot. Just to give people a sense of the scope, and one sense of your work, how many, so you said you offer educational courses.
Mhm.
Are those like on an ongoing basis? Do people have to sign up to attend them? Are they offered for free? Could you just give
Yes,
a little bit more information about those, perhaps?
sure.
Yep.
Yes, they are offered for free. Well, actually, there's a minimal charge to cover room rental expenses when all the group meets in person.
Mhm.
A very minimal charge. A lot of the groups meet online now, and that's really, I think, expanded our service in many ways. Not only do we have community members from other countries participating, but it's also, when due to COVID and we couldn't meet in person,
Mhm.
it's allowed us to explore and live more subjectively, more telepathically. So we still offer twice a month a subjective group service meditation where
Mhm.
we link to telepathically, subjectively. And there are also twice a month online Zoom meditations as well, including the various courses. Well, they've expanded from initially only being the teachings of the Tibetan and Martin Mueller to we have two groups that are studying Agni Yoga, the couple of groups, one group studying called We Are the Path, the teachings of Master R. So the awareness of the ashram of synthesis that Master DK introduced is also part of the group field.
Wonderful. Thank you, Margot. I'm going to pivot over to Anna. Anna, could you give us a bit of sort of background information on Psicoactiva?
Of course, Michael. First, I would like to thank on behalf of Psicoactiva for today's invitation. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Well, yes, Psicoactiva was created 20 years ago. Our project has matured during these years. We are an NGO with volunteers working in psychology, and our goal is to awaken or help awaken human consciousness and promote good relationships. People who come to Psicoactiva with personal, family, relationships, or work challenges start resolving them through humanistic psychology. So this helps to align their personality with their physical, emotional, and mental selves. We have this work with children, with teenagers, and with adults. And transpersonal psychology helps students shift their focus from the external world to their inner selves. That helps us to move from firstly personal challenges, then to the transpersonal ones, and later, when the personality is a little aligned, more aligned, we move to esoteric psychology. So, with Blue Books and some works from Blavatsky, we study the angels' wisdom and energies. And we focus on these three branches of psychology: humanism, transpersonal, and esoteric studies here. And the idea is to put this knowledge in action in everyday life. that is an overall that we are having here in Psicoactiva.
Thank you, Ana. Just to follow up on that, do you all hold, is this mostly focused in person, or is a lot of it remote, online connections and help that you're offering to people? And do you do it one-on-one, or is it like a group? Do you hold like courses or groups or webinars, or how does
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah, we essentially work in groups. Well, our work is in both online and personal, but most of our students are, once we go back from pandemia, we return for personal courses, but we still promoting some approachment or some works on online with esoteric psychology.
Mm. Okay, so you do both. You have some in person.
We have both, yeah.
Okay. And where are you based in Mexico? What city?
We are close Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably you will hear some birds here because we have enough space for a garden and some, yeah. So yeah, we are very close in Mexico City.
That's very nice. Very nice. I can see behind you. It's a beautiful, beautiful scenery. Yeah.
Yes, we.
So just one other question, and we might circle back to this later, but how big a role does meditation play at the early stages of your, or maybe throughout? Like what role does meditation play in it? Because I know it's psychological and there's sort of, communication, obviously, and it's educational. And you said later on it becomes more about esoteric psychology, but what role does meditation play in your work at Psicoactiva?
Well, it's very important. We believe it's essential, the work of meditation as a group, because the energies generate magnetism and attract our students. But also, we know that we are collaborating in a higher perspective with all the groups that are doing this job right now. Right now, we know that we have an opportunity as any other time, and that's why we are focused on maintain, for example, Goodwill meditation. Every week, Wednesday, we get together with our students online, and we also wanted to express that to our students the importance of maintain the line, the connection, as well as with the reappearance of the Christ. We work on Thursday on those meditations. So we follow some of our students. They are not only Psicoactiva students. We here have some courses with the blue books, but also some of our students are Arcan School students. So we are individually working in our own alignment, and but also we are doing it that work in groups.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. I just wanted to pivot back to Margot. If you Can we tell us a little bit more about the meditation work? And you mentioned it, but maybe you could tell a bit more about the meditation work at Society for the Enhancement of the Quality of Life.
Our group service meditation has evolved over the years we've been together, and is the substance, I think, it forms the substance of our group field. And we see this group field as an expression of the Christ in alignment with Shambhala. We see that I think it helps us, it helps us to remain in alignment as we go about our days, so that we are living soul, acting group, and revealing the one life. And I think that's all that's.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's lovely, Margot. Thank you so much. What sort of like if somebody wanted to join in with the group in meditation, what are some of the opportunities that if they just went and just wanted to join you all in meditation, what are some of the ways they could get involved?
Well, one certainly subjectively on the first and third Mondays of each month, and they could reach out to our SEQL through our SEQL website at SEQL.net.
Okay,
Society
great.
for the Enhancement of Quality of Life. SEQL.net.
SEQL. I'm going to type that in the chat for
Yeah.
people. Anna, do you have a website for your group?
Yes, we do. We will share this website for the audience.
Okay, great. Thank you. Because people were messaging me in the chat and they want to know how to contact the groups, how to learn more and all of that. So it's good to have that in the chat if and when you can.
Of course.
Great. So if anybody from the audience has any questions for Margot or for Anna, please you can raise your hand and we can get you into the conversation as well. But I'd like to pose one more question while we're waiting on people to collect their thoughts, and that is a lot of the people that come to these webinars and that are involved in the World Goodwill work, a lot of them are involved in starting new groups in their local areas. A lot of them are involved in smaller groups that maybe aren't as well established, and so maybe there's a bit more fluctuation and the regularity and stuff like that. And as we know, this age is an age of a lot of crises as well. And when something's really well established, it can sometimes withstand those crises better. And so I wanted to ask both of you, like, what are some of the ways in which you, I guess, whether your group has encountered any sort of challenge that you'd be willing to share with us and sort of how those were handled? I'm thinking more sort of in terms of like the group organization, but sort of anything you want to share in terms of the challenges of this sort of work and how you're able to overcome them, if you'd like.
Well, yes, I'm sorry, Margot, go ahead.
No, please, after you.
Yeah, yes, we have seen social challenges as well as environmental, security, or political issues. Even they are national, global, or local levels, they are not minor. So our work, our groups, we need to be focused on these challenges and maintain the connection. I mean, within our groups, we regularly reflect on these problems and guide our students toward a more natural life. And of course, we need individually and globally work with detachment and discernment. This is essential for everyone, for humanity at this moment. It's very important, but it's also staying informed. So, we need to prioritize knowledge and then move forward. We think that is essential right now, and that seems that the spiritual tension in the world is increasing nowadays. So it is for everyone an opportunity, well, to move forward, even when we feel that it's overwhelms problems on physical, emotional, or cognitive aspects. It's to maintain spiritual tension, and to feel that we are a group, because right now I am pretty sure that a lot of groups, a lot of units of service that are connected today, we are focused on the return of Christ. So, well, we'll all together, with all aligned to this work, we are helping these returns on the Christ comes in the future.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Margaret, do you have anything about Christ? If you don't want to share it, it's totally fine, but about sort of challenges or how the group's been able to deal with certain challenges which may have arisen.
Yes, we've experienced some challenges.
Mm.
And I come back to the group service meditation, to our purpose. And I think, ultimately, we have the saying, group works. And to come back, to go behind whatever challenge is there, and recognize that this is really an opportunity for us to evolve, to move forward, to move onward, upward, and through, as we continue to prepare for 2025, the emerging fourth ray, the conclave, the reappearance, to continue to come back to even just a smile, to know that something good is trying to happen here, regardless of the outer appearance.
Wonderful, thank you. We have a hand raised, Barbara Valacour, if you'd like to unmute.
Thank you, Michael and Anna and Margot. Very fascinating presentation to hear from the groups. I know there's so many. I just wanted to point out to everybody, in 2008, Paul Hawken, the social entrepreneur, wrote a book called Blessed Unrest. And in this book, he basically documents what he feels are about 2 million groups all over the world doing service projects. And he calls it the biggest movement that no one saw coming. But of course, we know all about it. But it just goes to point out, it's so inspiring to read how vast this network really is and how unorganized it is intergroup-wise. But each group is doing incredible things to change the world. And when I think of this, it makes me think of the Christ's work, because all these groups are open to that energy in some kind of way to be of service to humanity. So it's just very inspiring. I'll put it in the chat, the name of the book. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Can
Yeah,
I say something?
yeah, of course, go ahead.
Thank you. As I was hearing Barbara, I was also reflecting about what is a group, And because in Psicoactiva, we come back and in person, we met together and have some works here. We might say this is a group or that's a group, but also I think there's a group that we have not realized as a whole. Humanity right now is thinking about how to be better, how to improve at any activity on the human branch. So if you see or you focus on young people, they are expressing in some way principles of soul. So that is also a group.
Mhm.
So we have a bunch of people, even when they are not recognized as a group, they are working as on the same principles. So we are working together on this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anna. Yes, I was also going to share Barbara's I'm somewhat familiar with the book Barbara spoke about, and it's this huge list of worldwide groups, basically representative of the new group of world servers, in many ways. And there's something so powerful. I think what sort of also what you're getting at too, Anna, is that there's groups that are wider than just an outer organization, just like a nonprofit, just like an organization. There's a much bigger sense of group. The new group of world service itself, a group, obviously, but yet it's millions of groups throughout the world. The units of service network, with the trust, which is basically, to my understanding, the heart center of the new group, those who work consciously with meditation and are sort of aligned with the principles of the soul and with spirituality in a conscious way. To me, that's also a much larger group than what's even listed on the Lucis Trust website. There's all sorts of unaffiliated, even Alice Bailey inspired groups that are unaffiliated with the trust, or Ageless Wisdom inspired groups, I should say. But beyond that, there's also just the worldwide group of mystics. There's all the religious traditions as well that are in many ways working along, especially today, along similar lines. So, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of groups, our sister group in Ontario is in the process of creating a film called Goodwill, A Conscious Revolution. And the introduction outline has already been, the script is done, and the 10-minute video covering this portion is going to be shot professionally within the next few weeks.
That's in Ontario?
In Ontario, yes.
Ontario?
Yeah, which is
What's the name?
closer to New York.
Yeah, what's the name of your sister group, if you don't mind me asking?
The Mansfield Group.
The Mansfield group. Okay. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'd love to hear about that. When it's released, it'd be wonderful to see that video. Look forward to that. There were some messages in the chat which I just can't really follow and also talk to you at the same time. So I chose to focus my attention on our conversation. But let me just look really briefly. I see Martha Gallahue. Sure, it's something, and I can't find the comment now, but something about, which is a question I also had in mind about the sort of, where do you see your groups progressing in the future? Perhaps the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, not 50 years. I mean, maybe if you want 50 years, but perhaps more shorter term, like 5 years, 10 years. Like, how do you see things moving forward? I know these things develop so organically and in response to sensed need. But if you had to say something, how would you express maybe the way you see your groups developing in the future? If you could, maybe we could just sort of close with that, because we are also running short on time.
Well, yes, we have launched, I have seen some question about our courses. Well, it's a big challenge to do it in English, but right now we are doing just in Spanish. And of course, whenever you have an opportunity, I think your soul helped you to move forward. So I am pretty sure that we have a student that lives in Hawaii, and she has helped us with this presentation for today. and she speaks very well English. So that is a challenge for us. But this moment we have just launched an online esoteric psychology. We will continue to expand. We hope to continue to expand these programs online to reach more people. We also have an Ayurvedic experience center run by members of medical field. And well, we will like to keep more working on these two programs. But the main point is to maintain the bond, to studying, meditating, and continuing with the service. That's what we are going to be on the following time.
Thank you. Margot, any thoughts on the future of the work at SEQL, or any closing thoughts?
Continue to move ever forward in service of the plan and the spiritual hierarchy and humanity. Forward, ever forward.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both so much for your thoughts and for being here today with us. This has been a really excellent session. I wish we could keep going forever. But thank you all so much. It's been really, really magical, really inspiring, and thank you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. Yep. So with that, we're going to close, and I will just invite everybody to our next upcoming webinar. Will be the Triangles Meditation Group webinar, which occurs the second Tuesday of every month, which this month is, and I'm just lost the date here, June 10th, Monday, June 10th. And then the next Goodwill Meditation Group webinar, this webinar, which is held on the last Wednesday of every month, will be June 26th. So we look forward to having all of you join us for those if you're able to. Thank you all and have a blessed day.